Kirtan's become a lot more popular in the West with the yoga traditions coming to the West. I guess you could say over the last 100 years, but really probably since the 60s and 70s, when you're considered an absolute fruitcake for doing yoga, till now is a very big change in attitude toward South Asian spirituality and yoga culture in general, and it's huge now. Once people have gotten the physical practice, then a lot more of the peripheral practices start to emerge in that same scene. So things like Kirtan, and then I guess the meditational path as well of yoga. And Kirtan's one of those things, and it's becoming very popular in the West, and I think it's diversifying in the West in a way that hasn't really in Asia. So really it's come over to the West, and as usual with these things, they come in a way that we can understand them, which was the physical asana first, because we're very physical and material oriented in the West. Now as people get deeper into their practice, it's diversifying. We're reaching out to those peripheral practices, but expressing them in a way that makes sense in our culture. And this is the culture that we come from. We're at Symbiosis Festival, and it's all about bass music. It's all about, you know, bringing these transcendent experiences in a modern way. You know, kids stand in front of a Function 1 sound system. That's how we relate to it. The blend for us is about big sound systems, getting that power of these frequencies that weren't really available to yogis 200, 300, 400 years ago, that we have to help channel these energies. So.
In South Asia, there's certain temples for certain deities. An example would be Ganesh. So people would go to the Ganesh temple, and that is the deity that they kind of gravitate to, and he's the remover of obstacles and protection. So by chanting that certain mantra, it invokes that spirit. And with the other deities, they have, you know, certain properties that they have, and so by doing these chants, they kind of help to invoke certain things in your life. And what we've done is taken those chants and put them in our songs along with bass music, and have people really transport into another place, even if they don't understand the chant, or if they don't even, you know, understand the Sanskrit, let alone what the meaning is behind it, that there's still this deep connection that I think everyone has with their soul and their DNA of this chanting, you know, in a place together, of almost like worship.
In the West, there isn't really any kind of singing practice like that. And I find it very freeing myself, and I think you see people on the dance floor that apparently are having the same experience, where you're able to just open your mouth and vocalize freely. And if you're sitting in a yoga studio, maybe it's my problem, but I always feel a little bit embarrassed sometimes. You're in a kirtan, there's all acoustic instruments, and I'm like, I can't sing very well, and sound fucking awful. But when you get in front of a big system, you know, a 20K system, you can sing as loud as you like and just open your mouth and get that energy out. It's a very powerful thing. We never do that in the West, and I see people really enjoying that aspect of themselves. Just there's something about opening up those channels, and it's tied to the breath in the yogic tradition. The body, physical body, and then the breath, and then the energy, and then the mind are all connected. They're interdependent. So if you mess with any one of those, you're messing with the other ones. So when you're using the breath and vocalizing that, it's affecting the pranic level, it's affecting the material level of the body, and it's affecting the mind. So there are really different ways of working with those 4 different sheaths, if you like, of reality, of our personal reality. So it's hitting on a whole lot of different levels. When they're on the dance floor, they're dancing and moving their bodies. That's like asana, right? Like doing the yoga practices. And then when you're vocalizing, it's like the breath practice. And then the Sanskrit words themselves have an effect on the energy system, the prana. That all has an effect on the mind. It opens up, the mind suddenly is having flooded with these thoughts of compassion and kindness and connection with the people around us. Those awesome feelings that we all have on the dance floor when we're in that zone. So really we're just kind of manipulating that process. That's the, you know, manipulating what seems like a bunch of people dancing in front of a sound system and chatting loads of words end up having a very powerful effect. And these same practices you see in all authentic spiritual traditions in some way or another. They're working with fundamental aspects of spiritual practices everywhere, and this is just our version of it, really. You know, through the festival scene and the electronic scene, want to find their way, an authentic way that isn't exotic and Asian and all incense and whatever, you know. I mean, I like incense and all that, but at some point we've got to make it real and make it for us who live in the West, and this is the kind of scene we're in, this is our lives, and we've got to, okay, what do these practices mean to us? What do they look like in our time and our day for us?